Sometimes I find ready-made scripts with ideas worth drawing. No need to edit, simply waiting to be rediscovered. A visual touch-up might help to connect new generations with the insights of this great philosopher. Karl Jaspers was an influential humanistic existentialist in Germany from 1883 from 1969. He weaves the theme of individual freedom together with an inquiry into political engagement. He looked on democracy as a way to freedom, not as a state of already achieved freedom that needed only to be managed. About political discussion. Discussions as a rule are not thorough. We bombard each other with poorly reasoned sentences. We frequently change the subject. The sentences do not gravitate around the center. We get emotional. We're constantly at cross purposes. We do not get results. We stop or give up. How can we bring about a better discussion? First of all, the failure is due to mixing up fact and opinion and wrong identification. Solution. In any discussion, the facts could be established by mutual recognition. On the other hand, the will, which sets itself a goal, cannot be steered in the right direction by knowledge alone. But since the will of an honest, reasonable being is not blind, it can be brought to a clearer view of things by the process of thinking. Then the discussion would be transformed. It would become clearer to the disputants what they are aiming at. Both would try to reduce the topic to ultimate positions and to point out the logical consequences by asking, "Is that what you really want?" In this way, the disputants, in their common will for truth, could reach the ultimate battleground, where real forces come face to face through them. And there, men who are authentically themselves could, despite radical opposition, meet in a communication encompassing both. They would not be entirely at the mercy of the forces that drive them into opposition. They would agree to be the battleground, where, rising above their own conflict, they would meet each other as human beings in a spirit of chivalry. In the encompassing, they are of one mind, destined to meet in an historically given situation as opponents. A good discussion like this depends on certain presuppositions. Both must genuinely want to know. They must recognize demonstrable facts and contradictions. They must listen to each other. They must not practice evasion. And both must want a reciprocal disclosure of their ultimate aims. A second reason for the failure of a discussion is the parity of opinions. A dialectical procedure has to take this parity for granted. In this way, we acknowledge each other as rational beings. But by no means all opinions should have equal rights. One can be of a different opinion in good faith only when one is willing to go along tentatively with the other's argument. A good partner helps his opponent to think. This is hampered by entrenched self-interest, dogmatism, enslavement to thoughtless cliches. Then no one longer listens or answers. It is a different matter when the resistance comes from genuine faith. It is the will to truth itself, experiencing the existential encounter of opposing forces in the world, which cannot prevail unilaterally and cannot operate together in the same man. They only have equal rights in never-ending struggle. Political discussions suffer, thirdly, from a too limited or too fantastic view of the future. The probability of what is to come cannot be determined with any exactitude. We must weigh the chances. We would like to see simple outlines. We get caught in wishful thinking. The knowledge of the realities that determine the future is never complete. It is our responsibility to discern them. The uncertainty of the future forces us to look at the realities that can be discerned today, in which the germs of the future reveal themselves to the open-eyed. And finally, what are political discussions for? They serve as political self-education and prepare action. They are a forum for the political life of a nation. Otherwise, they're empty talk. you.